Yeah, my name's Tom Melliman. I've been in Townsville 30 odd years. I walked in this place as a volunteer after being somewhere else, and then they offered me a job as chaplain here, and then after chaplain became, they added music tutor to that as well, so I wear two hats on this campus. I was a young fella when I heard the Beatles, and I just couldn't get over how did they make that noise? And I heard it on the radio, I heard it on a record first, and they could sing, and they made all this, this guitar just sounded unreal to me. So during high school, I started playing high school. A friend of mine was a really good guitarist, and he used to bring his guitar to school and make get a crowd going, you know, just for the fact that he knew how to play the guitar. And it's not that I wanted a crowd around me. I just thought that, you know, I liked it anyway in the first place, the sound of the guitar. And when I had this friend who played really well, and I said to him, yeah, show us how to do this, how to do that, and it led from there. And then I haven't really done any. I haven't really studied for it. It's just been self-taught. I like the guitar works of Mark Knopfler in Dire Straits and the Eagles. Yeah, I'd say the Eagles. And I also like reggae music, and that'd have to be Bob Marley and the Wailers. When I was young, my mother passed away, and my father raised three of us. Yeah, I was the youngest. Papoose by then. You know. Sorry, that's the baby. Yeah, so my father was my hero because when my mother went, he was the only person there for us. Keep on the right side of the law, because it's going to catch up with you down the track. If you won't be able to get good jobs, you won't be able to leave the country if you've done something illegal and you know, against the law, and get a record that's going to hamper. That's not going to dampen. That's going to give you chances of getting a good job, and that, you know, a bit of an obstacle if you have a record or something like that. So keep on the right side of the law, and just carry on with your schooling. Young people come up and ask me advice and stuff like that. I like to give them an honest answer, and if they follow that, well, which most of them do. Otherwise, I just give my opinion, and if they want to seek a second opinion, well, they're very, very welcome to go and get a second opinion.
Did I have a hero? I did. I had a couple of heroes.
Tell me about them.
Tell you about them? Well, one of my heroes, I suppose, was a great old storyteller by the name of old Burnham Burnham, and he was a hero for me as he had been the first Indigenous man, Australian Aboriginal man, to actually go to England and state his sovereignty, his connection to Aboriginal Australia, and place the flag into England. So he was one of my heroes as a storyteller. My other heroes, well, as everybody does as they're growing up, my hero it was my big brother. My big brother was he was a very sporty person. done a lot of athletics, played basketball, was a great basketball player, and I always wanted to be like him, but could never be like him. He had talents that weren't mine, they were his. Big lessons I've learned as a teen. Well, when I was about 11 and a half, I became homeless, and I lived on the streets in Brisbane for several months, covering up in, with cardboard boxes and, what do you call those things, newspapers, wrapping myself in newspaper. That was a big lesson for me. It was a big lesson of how you could go from one place of having a happy home and being in a household and having family around to actually having no one and learning to struggle through life. As a young person on the streets, that was a really big lesson for me. The biggest lesson that I learnt was that family isn't always blood. Family are the ones who look after you, who care for you. Family are the ones that show you love and respect and how you feel. So that was the biggest lesson. I may have lost my household and my home, but I had many other elders or older people in the community who had become my mothers, my fathers, my big brothers and my big sisters. Now, there's a great big life ahead of you, and every step of the way is a learning journey, and that's what life is. Life is a big lesson, so you have to learn from it. And young people of today are just at the start of their journey where I once was when I was 11 years old living on the streets. My favourite memory of being a young adult was returning back from Brisbane back to my home here in North Queensland, Townsville and Palm Island, and all the cultural knowledge and stories that was passed on from my elders to me. And I now in turn share that with the wider community. So that'd be the big something that really impacted on my life. When I left Palm Island and I moved away and went to places, and then I ended up at 11 on the streets. There was an auntie that came from Palm Island, and she actually growled. She growled me for living on the streets as a young person, and she said, "I'm ringing up my brother," and her brother is actually married to my mother's younger sister. So the phone call was made to Palm Island, and within 24 hours I was back on Palm Island. So her actions spoke louder than words to me, because she really cared for me, and she removed me from that situation and took me back to the place that I really wanted to be in, and that was on Palm Island with at home with my family. I think I've achieved a lot of things coming from somewhere, from a young person who was on the streets, had less, I didn't finish grade 10 or 12, so a lot of that education and a lot of knowledge that has come through life experience.
Family is a big thing for me, and it's something I instill in my two children. I have two sons. Family is very important. Coming from a cultural background, also knowing your culture, where you come from, is also a big lesson I think that young people should know. You don't give up on your dreams. Education is really important. I know some young people may struggle with education, but fortunately enough, there's heaps of support networks out there now for young people to use and services. So stay in education as long as you can, and that will help you in a career. Honestly, for me, I got to grade 10 and I said to my mum, I don't want to go to school anymore. So my mother, I was probably the toughest out of the three of us, and my mum said to me to there was an agreement. I had 2 weeks to find a job, and if I wasn't able to find a job in that 2 weeks, then the condition was I went back to school. Well, I better save my 2 children being born and getting married. Yeah, better say that. As my children were younger, I started out working with the Cleveland Youth Detention Centre. This was probably maybe 15 to 20 years ago. And working there for about 10 years, I sort of come to realise that I need to be in the community and working with young people that are disengaged and disadvantaged. So that more or less was my calling. So I thought. So I've been working with disengaged young people for the last 20 years in all different programs, and and I get a lot of job satisfaction out of that. That term's been used quite a few times, the hero term, but probably I can see myself more as a mentor or role model to young people, both from the education side to working to cultural, even to the point of, even some sporting, been involved with sports quite a fair bit as well. So yeah, probably more of a role model or mentor.